At 27, I've managed to grow my portfolio to over $250,000 in just 6 years through a mix of hard work, discipline, and luck. I'm going to share my journey from my first really stupid investments to my final controversial one, which has doubled in the past 2 years, and then I'll show you where I am today. Stay till the end to see how much I've profited over the past 6 years. Hey everyone, my name is Kalen, and at the ripe age of 20 years old, I became jaded with the 9-to-5 grind, and I started to work towards financial independence. At the beginning, I made some pretty bad decisions. My first investment was $500 in a random mutual fund, and my next two investments were in weed stocks. Don't ask. Okay, so I sold the weed stocks the next month, and I lost some money, but that's okay. I learned from my mistake. The mutual fund hasn't done that well either, and it's now worth around $800. These investments were the spark that lighted the flame for the past 6 years. So the lesson here is if you haven't started investing, just get started. You will make mistakes, but you will learn. Shortly after that, the best thing happened to me. I learned about ETF investing. ETF investing is amazing because it allows you to diversify your portfolio with just one stock. I personally invested in the S&P 500, but I made another mistake. I invested in the US version of the S&P 500 ETF VOO, so I lost money on the exchange rate between CAD and USD. At the time, I put $5,200 in my TFSA, which is the Canadian equivalent of the US Roth IRA, and I put $1,000 in my non-registered account. Today, they're worth $11,000 and $2,100 because I never sold because I'm cheap and I didn't want to pay the exchange rate. What can I say? Luckily, I discovered VFV, the Canadian version of VOO, and this means that I'm no longer wasting money on the exchange rate. In my RSP, which is the Canadian version of the traditional IRA or 401k, I'm not really sure. I put in $9,000 and it's now worth $20,000. In my TFSA, I have invested $56,000 over the years, which has grown to $97,000. Lastly, in a non-registered account, I invested $20,000 and that has doubled to around $40,000. Whew, let's take a break from those big returns. Sometimes you want some reassurance with some guaranteed returns. This past year, with the high interest rates in Canada being around 5%, I invested in an ETF called CBIL, which returns monthly dividends of about 5% yearly. I have about $6,400 invested in CBIL in my TFSA, which amounts to around $30 monthly dividend. Now let's talk about that final controversial investment that I've been teasing you guys about. In 2021, I started investing in Bitcoin and just a wee bit in Ethereum. I'm actually still slightly negative on Ethereum. I invested $2,200 near the peak, and it is now worth $2,100. But Bitcoin is where I saw significant returns. Even though I started buying Bitcoin at the peak in 2021, I continued buying as it crashed. I've invested over $35,000 in Bitcoin, and it's now worth $65,000, doubling in almost 2.5 years. Since Bitcoin has grown to be such a large percentage of my portfolio, I'm actually starting to dial it back a little bit and I'm focusing on ETFs again. But I truly believe that Bitcoin will change my life in the future, so I'll continue to make small investments in it because the volatility still makes me nervous. But I'm trying to have that diamond hands mentality, you know? Okay, how about some fun graphs that show the growth now? Here is what my yearly returns look like for my 3 accounts over the years. You can see that in the good years, I'm averaging around 26%, but in the bad years, I'm averaging negative 10%. This shows why investing works. There are more good years than bad years, and the good years have higher percentages than the bad years. Here is what the value of my investments look like over the past 6 years. You can really see it pop off in 2023 and 2024, and it's so satisfying to see compounding do its wonderful little job. You can see that my investments actually went down in 2022, and this is probably because Bitcoin was crashing at the time. But even though it crashed, I kept putting money into it, and because I did that, it made my growth so much larger in 2024. You can also see how my 4 accounts are distributed. So I have $115K in my TFSA, $20K in my RSP, 46K in my non-registered, and 68K in crypto. Now for the final profit results you have been waiting for. Over 6 years, I have invested $136,000. As of today, the value of my investments is $248,000, which means $112,000 of my investments is profit, which is around 82% growth. I hope that from this video you can see how through consistency and through investing today, you have the power to change the direction of your life. I hope that you also see how it is okay to make mistakes. I made so many mistakes in the beginning, but I learned from them and I grew from them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found some value from this video. I've included a free budget template in the description if you join my newsletter. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.